Hey guys, how's it going? Preparing here. Coming in from ESL Studios once again, making the videos however I can here and there. Today I want to talk about a pretty interesting subject leading in from, the extra hero skins that people are a little bit annoyed about. Talking about some of the easy things, somewhat easy things, maybe not too easy in some cases, things that Blizzard can do to really improve the game. And these are suggestions I've been talking about here and there. I've even talked to some of the devs about it. But I thought I would be fairly concise and illustrate to you guys that some really big things can happen in Hearthstone. The game can be significantly improved from what I think is fairly low amount of effort, or in some cases development time. So have it all in one place and get you guys to think, and maybe in some way it reaches the right guy at Blizzard, and maybe some of these things actually go through. So to kick it off, I'll do a top 10 list. We'll start with the 10, and we'll move down to the really cool things that can happen from just a little bit of a kick. To start it off, I want to talk about Spectator mode. Spectator mode, the introduction has been really cool. It's made doing like makeshift tournaments pretty easy. It's made just watching what your friends are doing pretty easy. In some cases it's pretty interesting, but it's still got some really rough parts. It just bugs out a lot, crashes a lot. You can't see both players effectively. So just making that just refined is kind of a big deal when the tournament scene is concerned, and it just makes some setting up just easy tournaments. It'll make it much more frequent. I think a lot of things are going to move forward if that happens. But also, I think it'll be really cool to extend the spectator mode to beyond the actual game. So just to see, at least in an arena, to see the player that you're spectating draft cards. The choosing of cards in an arena is often much more significant than actually seeing him play. And it's something that will facilitate drafting with friends, drafting with other people on your friends list. A lot better, a lot easier, and just a lot more fun, I think. And really bring the somewhat non-existent in-game community, to at least a slightly better state. And also, I think because you can maybe easily communicate with your friends what you're doing outside of the actual game, you can further this idea to maybe deck building, just going through the decks. Being able to spectate that would be a pretty big thing, because you can kind of work very directly, very smoothly with a friend or multiple friends on building a deck together. So that's pretty easy to do, I think, and it'll be pretty cool. Also, one of the coolest things that I was really hoping, as someone who plays all the spectrum of Hearthstone, I play mostly Arena, but I collect a lot of the cards. I give Blizzard a lot of money for them, but I don't get to use the cards. So number 9 on my list is I want to use golden cards in Arena, and I think this is actually a pretty easy change to make, and I think it'll lead to them getting more monies, because people who are Arena players might decide to buy packs so they can use their dust to have really cool golden cards when they play Arena. So how would this work? Well, in Arena, you draft cards, and those are the cards that you use, and none of them are golden. Well, the idea is if you have the card that you draft, so let's say you drafted Ancient of War, and you have a golden Ancient of War in your collection, and what I think would be cool if it happened is all your cards that you have golden in constructed mode would automatically turn golden when you select them in Arena. So not only would that just kind of look cool, be cool, maybe make players choose cards they wouldn't otherwise choose, to spice up the game a little bit, to be a bit more adventurous in the game, which I think is another important thing. Back to friends, back to community. One thing that really annoys the shit out of me, and is a bigger deal for me and few other people than most people, but it kind of sucks to be capped at 100 friends. 100 friends is not a lot, because this goes through all of Battle.net. So if you play World of Warcraft, if you play Diablo, if you play Heroes of the Storm, if you play a few other Blizzard games coming up pretty soon, well, all these guys need to be on the same list. So you basically have room for like 20 Hearthstone dudes, and if you want to be like constantly communicating with them when you play Hearthstone, that's not actually possible. So that basically sucks ass. It is mostly like a Battle.net thing, but like, how hard can that be? Like, it's probably just a value. It's probably just 100. If you make it 200, It can't take that long to change, can it? I don't know. Maybe it does, but I think it's pretty important because, when you play a game, you want to be as social as you can in it. It's multiplayer for a reason. You want to make it as multiplayer as possible, and an easy change like this can be a big deal to a lot of people. It's nice to log in the game and have, every single person that you liked playing with in the last couple of weeks online and get to talk to them, get to share ideas, so a lot of stuff can happen from that. Another thing I don't really understand is number 7 on the list. I think there should be a reason to play casual mode. Like, we talked about play modes a little bit. Hearthstone really needs more of them, but at the same time, Hearthstone has a lot of features that are kind of useless. Like casual mode is basically nothing. It's not really a place where you can test decks because it doesn't really accomplish anything. On one side, you face people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing. On the other, you play literally net deck control warrior, and it's just as well as playing ranked. It's just feels like there's absolutely no place for it. Some people like to do their dailies on there, but most people realize that the rank system isn't really much of a big deal at all, so they just do it there. And I don't know. I feel if you're going to have these extra play modes, you might as well have some reason to them. So casual mode could lie maybe like a PTR, maybe like to test different changes that may be upcoming in the regular game, or you could have casual mode just have some pretty cool rules. You could have maybe 2 mana crystals a turn, as it talked about different play modes in the past. Maybe it's a grounds to test these wild ideas, and if it's an ongoing thing, people could just basically just get a lot of fun, while Blizzard probably doesn't have to do too much to make that happen. And of course, number 6 on my list is more deck slots. This is probably the most talked about one because it kind of ties into the portrait thing where it's a very easy fix. Blizzard can make a lot of money off of it. Blizzard could just charge like $5 per extra deck slot and people would buy like 30, or yeah, 1,000 in some cases. I'm sure there's going to be that guy that does that, and it's a pretty big deal. It kind of sucks to come up with your own deck, but then you want to try this, you want to try that, and it's a pain in the ass to like keep your decks in text formats on your desktop or some shit like that. You lose it, you forget about it. It's just cumbersome. A lot of these just have senseless limitations, and fortunately other people have agreed. Ben Brode has also decided that it is not confusing players to have more than 9 deck slots, which is a good thing, and maybe at least that one will have a solution somewhat soon. Another thing that is kind of a bit annoying is golden portraits. So the Magnite skin for Warrior is going to go in the game fairly soon, and I'd imagine because it is a golden portrait by default, it's an animated portrait by default, you'll probably get a golden portrait in Arena through Magnite. So why don't we just have golden portraits in Arena? If people play the game that much, isn't it okay to give them, some showing of it in Arena? Why not, I say. If it's a feel good for one, like when I face a golden opponent, I don't feel bad. I only feel bad that nobody is golden when I play Arena. And on the same note, I feel it's just as logical to give credit for wins in Arena towards the golden portrait. Why is this ranked only? I understand that ranked is, really failing on the reward system, but why does something like this have to be exclusive to it? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's number 5 on the list. And number 4, to tie into kind of the social side of things, is the multi-region support. Now, Hearthstone has, a lot of different servers that you play on, and each of these are basically isolated completely. And, there's some benefit to that. There's some logistics to that, and really merging them all at once is probably going to be a total mess, and it's probably not going to be good for Blizzard because on one end, they put a lot of work. On the other, they disincentivize people to buy cards in multiple regions. So it actually makes them less money, and they put in. So they won't do that. I get it. But I play a few other games sometimes. Like I played Path of Exile recently, and Path of Exile has a system where you can connect to like a dozen different servers in the world, but you don't play on different realms. You play on the same realm. The server just acts as a gateway to the realm, and you can play with whoever you want. If one guy's on the other side of the world, when you party up, you can play with each other, even though you made your character on different servers, and the person who creates the instance, creates the world, is just played on that. So, I feel that's kind of fair. And I think it's not too much to make people able to play between different regions, at least through their friends list. So if you have someone on your European friends list, there should be some system where on America you can challenge him. It's not like you guys have different cards. It's not like that really matters at all. It just increases the social, increases the in-game community, I think in this case to a great deal, and makes use of friends lists, which is awesome. Yeah, it's just overall good stuff. So I'm really hoping something like that can happen just to make the game a bit more sociable. The other thing, which again people have been pretty vocal recently and last week and like 2 weeks before that and across the last like 5 months, is people are pretty pissed off about getting GVG packs as arena rewards. They have no option. It's just GVG, and GVG is not really a very big set, so people who play arena all the time are disincentivized to play arena because, well, they have every single card in the GVG set and they don't want those. And yeah, it's just better for them in most cases just to use their gold to buy classic packs because they don't really forward themselves, because most people don't average like 7 to 8 wins and just go endless arena runs and have the luxury of buying what packs they want. The rewards themselves are very significant to most people, and yeah, I agree. It's not fair to punish them by giving them cards that they don't get to choose. So it would make sense to give people classic packs, or it would make sense to give people the option to choose whatever pack they want, or it would make sense to give people just 100 gold so they can buy whatever they want. And some people suggested like a token, so you can spend the token on whatever pack you want. The problem, as some people see it with the token, is that you might save the tokens up and spend them on packs before they come out. But at the same time, what's really the big deal in that? So they really need to fix that, because a lot of people have actually stopped playing Arena altogether because of this, and it just doesn't seem fair. The rewards in this game are really kind of fail, and this leads to the number 2, the rewards past rank 20 and ranked. So there are basically none. It takes no time at all, no skill, and almost no effort to get rank 20. If you do, in a season, you get a wonderful card back, and you get some bonus stars if you do anything past that. And those bonus stars just give you a slightly better starting rank in the next season, which is basically completely meaningless, because in the biggest sense, it'll save you like a couple hours of grinding noobs down in Constructed. So it's basically nothing. You gain nothing. If you could spend the stars maybe as an option to buy golden portraits, or maybe packs or gold or just something, it doesn't have to be much. It would be a big deal, because players actually be incentivized to do well on ladder outside of just, I got rank 2 this season. Just be able to say that I got rank 3 last season. That's nothing, Even getting legend these days is nothing. You don't really get anything. If you got legend this season, you probably got legend last season. And, well, out of the 1 million card backs that you'll probably have in a few years, yeah, you probably won't even think about using that one. These days, I don't even really see people using legend card back to begin with. So, what are we doing? There are some players who really go for it, who try to get the world championship points, but those are very few. And some people who even get world championship points, they don't even care, because they know they have to get a decent number for them to actually be meaningful. So you actually get like nothing. Like there's like a dozen people on each region that ladder actually genuinely matters in a very significant way, and everyone else, you just get the one-time run, see how well I do, and other than that, it's just nothing. So a little bit of something. It doesn't have to be much. Gold, maybe some packs, just something would be a big deal and go a long way. And I think the point that I really wanted to lead this video is to the number 1. Here at ESL, I got a chance to talk with some Blizzard devs, and bouncing ideas back and forth. Of course, you're going to talk about cards like Dr. Boom. Why is Dr. Boom still Dr. Boom? Why hasn't it been changed? Along with a few other cards, doesn't make much sense. And understandably, the response, which does make a lot of sense, is a lot of players craft cards like Dr. Boom, and they spent, like a month's worth of saved dust or gold or whatever to make that happen. And if you nerf that, well, they're pretty upset. And you do get the full reward dust back, but it's a negative feeling towards the game. And there's other sides where people slowly build up a deck and they're just missing like the one card. So let's say someone's slowly building up Control Warrior, and maybe it just so happens that if you take Dr. Boom out of Control Warrior, it's garbage. So, you know, someone spent like the last 3 months and almost every day of that time to try to make this deck happen, and then, you know, it's no longer a deck because they nerfed Dr. Boom. So nerfing Dr. Boom for them means nothing, and they just get absolutely screwed. So I understand the idea behind nerfing cards generally is a bad thing. The thing is, though, early on in Hearthstone history, there was some excuse given, I don't actually remember what it was, towards not buffing cards. And as it so happens, you know, they've almost never actually buffed cards in the history of Hearthstone. And, you know, while I understand not nerfing cards, I think there should be some way for you to actually balance the game or just to keep it fresh. And that's really what I think they need to do. I think it doesn't take much to buff cards these days. With so many cards in the pool, Blizzard even has statistics on which cards are basically completely unused. Let's just say War Golem, you know, people cannot be using War Golem. What's wrong with buffing these cards? Nobody's using them to begin with, and if you buff them, it's so easy. It's like if you give War Golem 2 health, some people might actually try it. You know, there's almost no downside to buffing cards from the point of uselessness to kind of bad. People might try them. People, you know, it might actually change things. It's basically like, you know, people are waiting for an expansion to play with like 30 new cards when there's like way more cards than that are completely useless in the game that all Blizzard have to do is just upgrade slightly to create a whole bunch of new content with basically no effort. And a lot of cards are just crap. Like I want to bring up Dalaran Mage. Dalaran Mage was once a 2/4 for 3 with spell damage, and that was a really good card. And everyone's playing spell damage reliant druids and mages and that kind of rogues, for instance. So it was a big deal. The cards are nerfed. Now it's useless. Now Dalaran Mage is played in absolutely nothing. But if you make it back to a 2/3, you know, people might try it. So it's such an easy way to introduce artificial content and spice up the meta on a regular basis. Just to slightly buff cards that are completely underused, that I think that this is what people should really be talking about. Yes, new deck slots, whatever. All the 9 other things on this list really pale in comparison to this. You know, think of how exciting it is to just play with a few new cards where we have so many dead ones that it would take so little effort to bring into usefulness. So hopefully some of these things happen, specifically you know, later things on the list. And yeah, Hearthstone's a great game as it is, but I just wanted to illustrate the point to you guys. With just a few small changes, can be even better. So let's see what happens. Hope you guys enjoy my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow.